Hello and welcome to the big fight. It's been a rather wasted session of Parliament, but you knew that and we discussed it last week in the big fight. So today we're going to talk about the subject that may have led to an extension of this session of Parliament, but it didn't quite happen, which is of course the demand for quotas in promotions for SC/STs. Now, this has been a contentious issue, I can tell you, for a long time, dating all the way back to 1957. Where exactly are we on this particular issue? Is it likely to come about, and what are the permutations and combinations? That's what we're discussing on this episode of The Big Fight. And let me start by welcoming our guest, Mr. Sudhindra Bhadoria from the Bahujan Samaj Party, which has been really pushing to get this thing through and wanted an extension of Parliament as well. Dr. Tasneem Ahmed Rahmani from the Samajwadi Party equally vehemently disagrees with what the demand is out here, and we saw a bit of a scuffle between leaders from your parties in Parliament.
An articulated argument.
Okay, an articulated argument. We'll come to the reasons for that, as opposed to fisticuffs, which on the big fight we try and avoid as much as possible. Mr. Keshav Rao, Senior Congress Leader, great to have you with us as well. Mr. TSR Subramaniam, one of our most respected bureaucrats, who's of course been a Cabinet Secretary, so it's great to get your perspective, sir. Mr. Kancha Elaya, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. You've been frequently coming here on the big fight on various issues related to reservations with your very strong views on the subject, and we'll be hearing them again today. It's an honor to have you with us. Dr. Subhash Kashyap, one of the country's leading constitutional experts. As indeed it is to have you with us, Mr. Dushyant Dave, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court. And finally, Mr. P.V. Indiresan, former director at IIT Madras, has done a lot of really good work and thought on this particular subject. So let me just start with you, Dr. Kashyap. If I understand this correct, the present situation is that you can have quota and promotions for SC/STs, but in 2006, what the Supreme Court has essentially said is there are three riders to that. And the riders are that you have to make sure they are backward, you have to make sure that they are not adequately represented, and you have to make sure it will not affect administrative efficiency. Is that a correct summing up of the present situation?
That's correct.
And what is it sought to be done now?
Now the government has brought a bill which tries to undo what the Supreme Court has said.
So, Mr. Dave, what the government seems to be now saying is that you should have quota and promotions even if those riders are not there. So even if they are not adequately, if they are adequately represented and they are not backward and it will affect administrative efficiency, you should still have quota and promotions.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there seems to be something very strange which has happened. The Supreme Court justified the amendments in Article 16 when, previously they brought sub-articles 4A and 4B only on the ground that they are constitutionally valid, the quota in promotion is justified, but the court said that the government will have to make sure by a proper inquiry, by collecting data, that there is backwardness, that there is inadequacy of representation, and that it's not going to affect the administrative efficiency. If only this data is available, the Supreme Court said that it would be open for government to really bring about the promotions. Now, this caveat that Supreme Court has put, unfortunately, is completely lost sight of. And in the bill, if you will look at the bill which has been introduced for the 117th constitutional amendment, the government unfortunately admits that it is not possible for us to collect the data without actually telling the nation that they never made a serious attempt to collect the data. So this is really something very serious. Okay. It's on the one hand overcoming a judgment of the Supreme Court, but on a far serious matter, a good issue like quota in promotion is going to be seriously misunderstood by countrymen. It's going to have serious, divisive effect, and only on account of failure of the government.
Okay. Mr. Indiresan, is that a fair summing up of what is happening?
You have got rights, you have got privileges. What people are asking for are privileges. They have got a fundamental right to good education, which the politicians have systematically denied to them for the past 70 years. If they had got good education, this problem of privilege would not have come at all. So I would say that the fundamental problem is very bad governance and totally insincere political leadership.
You could actually say that for a lot of issues, not just this, but now that we are on this particular subject. Can I come to you, Mr. Bhadoria? Somebody at Bahujan Samaj Party has been pushing for this very strongly. What you are essentially saying is that those riders which the Supreme Court had said should not be there. Why should those riders not be there? What's wrong in saying that you should make sure that they are genuinely underrepresented. You should make sure it does not affect administrative efficiency. You should make sure that they are genuinely backward. What's wrong in saying that?
We gave affirmative action because historically these social groups had been oppressed, exploited and living on the margins of Indian social and economy for thousands of years. When Baba Sahab raised this issue, he raised this issue and the whole nation, the entire nation and the freedom struggle, leaders in the freedom strugl promised to him, and one man, the Pune Pact was there, and subsequently whenever, even in the constitution and subsequently whether it was VP Singh's government or Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, the quota and promotions were accepted and passed by all governments. Let me come to this issue that there is not enough data. It is for the government to find out, of course, but let me give you some data. Out of 149 secretaries that there are in the government, in the center here, the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe officers are 4 in the among the secretaries, 2 among the
I'll help you with it. 2 among additional secretaries, 31 among 477 joint secretaries.
You see, they are just about 2, 3, 4, 5% in the major positions of power. Now, if you want to keep them out, if the system has to become inclusive, if the system has to be really become participative, and if you have to give these social sections a sense of belongingness, then I think let me tell you one more thing. The Dalits are being taken away from the lands, from the water, from the resources. The scheduled caste will be, deprived of jobs, and therefore what is left for them?
I want to come back and again ask whether the fundamentals of what the Supreme Court said in 2006 don't cover what you have said, but we'll come back to that issue in just a couple of minutes. Dr. Rahmani, Samajwadi Party has reacted very strongly to this. What's the reason for that?
We have so many segments in our society, Indian society. When we say that we want to bring every segment of the society into the mainstream, that no one and nobody and no community and no segment shall get lag behind of the mainstream, then we need an inclusive growth. We have to provide opportunity to every segment of the society to get the inclusive growth dream come true. And when we only talk about the one group of the society, that the SC/ST, who has been already been given the reservation for last 65 years, and they are enjoying it, and their social and educational status somehow has been improved, then why not the other segments of the society shall be included?
How far is this going to go? I think that's the point he's trying to make. Should it only be
as far as the other social groups are concerned, they cannot be put at par with the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. In the socio-economic ladder of this country, they are at the bottom, number one.
The Sachar committee shows that in some areas
they are
no more at the bottom. No more at the bottom. Let me quote Sachar committee report, which says, this is just for example, which says that the Muslims in the country are being now even below the level of Dalits and scheduled caste and scheduled tribes.
Well, Sachar committee may have said, and we appreciate certain provisions, certain demands of the Sachar committee, but to say that the Dalits and the STs in this country are living a life of privilege and are the haves of this country, I think there can be nothing more contradictory than this.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.